What is up, everybody? This is Tribe Now, and welcome back, or welcome if you are new to the channel. Today we are going to be covering the host of Venom, and I figured it was about time to cover my second favorite character in comics with the new Venom movie on the horizon.
So many snacks.
Now, we are only going to be covering the 616 universe bondings, which means we are only covering canon Venom host. And we are also only be covering the false bonding since he has gone back to multiple hosts, such as Spider-Man. Now, if you didn't know Spider-Man was a host, they a big shocker. And also, just to note it, there are two characters we will not be counting on this list. One is Patricia Robinson, as she was not a host for the actual Venom, but for a clone of it, and Mania. Now that we got that out of the way, we are going to be going over the chronicle timeline of the Venom bondings, meaning the very first person he was linked to not just who we saw in the comics, but like at least timeline-wise, who he was first bonded to. And recently, his origin story has been redone or retconned, so spoilers ahead for anyone who hasn't caught up and want to be caught up to the Venom comics. Alright, moving on. Starting at number 1, we have Tel-Kar / Sleeper, a Kree soldier that was bonded with the Venom symbiote in a super soldier-like program similar to Project Revolve 2.0 during the Kree-Skrull War. And he was first introduced to us and was first shown having been bonded to the Venom symbiote in Venom First Host number 1, 2018. You see why I said spoilers? Alright, moving on to number 2, we actually have an unnamed alien. He still has not been named. And it hasn't really yet been explained how Tel-Kar lost the symbiote. So, just kind of go with me here. But anyways, it's an unnamed alien, an inhabitant of an icy world, as we are told. And, yeah, it turned out the alien was evil and committed genocide of his entire people. So you can see how the symbiote has kind of turned into an evil thing. Alright, and then to number 3, just to worsen its case of evil and its messed up head, after it got hooked up to this guy, it got hooked up to Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, the Mark of a Mouth, in Deadpool's Secret Wars number 3 in 2015. Now, the messed up thing about this is, Deadpool felt so bad linking up to the symbiote once he realized it was alive that he had it go off him because he thought it was a crime or a punishment to be linked up with someone so twisted as himself. And I just find that great as both a piece to figure out why Venom's as messed up as he is, and that Deadpool actually had a bit of pity for it. Alright, moving on to probably the second most known host, or I guess they would have to be the first, is Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, in Secret Wars number 8, 1984. Now, originally, if you don't know the story, in Secret Wars, he actually used this machine that he was told made clothing for him. And, you know, his suit was all torn up, so he went to use it, and it created this black mass, or I guess just spit venom out. And when he touched it, it covered him and gave him his iconic black suit. Now, after Secret Wars, you know, he wore it for a while, then he got rid of it when it started changing him. He wanted to do bad. And it eventually found its way to Eddie Brock, aka the original Venom. Now, we saw him or I guess a foreshadowing of him in Spider-Man 299, 1989. But we actually didn't get a first full appearance from him until Spider-Man 300. And you know, this is my favorite Venom, the old Venom at least. Back when Eddie Brock was evil and just wanted to destroy everything Spider-Man. Not to say that the current one is bad or anything, or even any ones after this version of him are bad. It's just this is my favorite interpretation of him. Anyways, after Eddie Brock, we've got Anne Weying, I believe that's how you pronounce it, who is actually, if I'm remembering correctly, it's either Eddie's ex-girlfriend or ex-fiance, and is the first She-Venom, or I guess the She-Venom, since Patricia Robinson and Mania are not counted. And she got possession of the suit in Venom Sin or Take All, Volume Number 1, Number 3, 1995. Now I do believe this is a period where they tried turning Venom into an anti-hero, similar to Deadpool. Well, not similar, but you get my meaning. And it just didn't work out, so he went back to his original routes, and this was just kind of a one-time thing. And then, you know, sometimes passed, and believe it or not, Eddie Brock got canceled. And he figured, well, it's gonna go to the suit's gonna go find the next bad guy. So he actually ended up doing, because he wanted to be a good guy, he actually auctioned it off to the highest bidder for money, and he gave it to, I believe, 8 separate charities or something as a way to atone. Well, anyways, he ended up selling it to this high-ranking mobster. I think it was actually a mob boss, who gave it to his son, Angelino Fortunato. I honestly can't pronounce that last name. But anyways, he gave it to him because his son was weak, spineless, and he thought maybe it'd toughen him up, you know, get him serious and become like his father. And well, when he got this suit, the first thing he tried doing in Marvel Knights Spider-Man number 7, which was in 2004, he tried taking on Spider-Man almost immediately. And at first it was going well for him, but then once Spider-Man realized, oh, this isn't Eddie, and this guy's a rookie, and just started to beat on him. Now, this guy's Venom suit wasn't the worst looking, but he is probably my least favorite Venom, and it's just because of how big of a coward he is. Because going into issue number 8 of Marvel Knights Spider-Man, he knew he couldn't win the fight, and he tried running away. Well, the Symbiote did not like that, called him a coward, and as they are jumping from one building to the next, detaches from him mid-jump and just lets him plummet. And I felt that was a pretty justified ending to him. And I think this was honestly probably the suit's plan, because in the same issue, well, not the same issue, but in the next issue, Spider-Man number 9 of Marvel Knights, he went to Mac Gargan, aka the Scorpion, who was no longer the Scorpion, but still a bad guy. The suit knew this, and went to him. And he is the technically second Venom, at least the longest running Venom, since Anne Weying and Angelino were one-shots. But anyways, yeah, he was the Venom for Dark Reign and Siege. And you know, I thought he was doing pretty well at brought him back to his roots. Obviously not as well as Eddie, but yeah, he did a pretty good job of it. And like I said, you know, by the end of the Siege event, he no longer possessed it, because the government took it away from him. But before that, during the Siege event, he fought Spider-Man and Miss Marvel, or K.O. Danvers, if that's how you prefer to call her. Well, they ended up actually fighting. It was a Spider-Man one-shot thing in the Siege event. I honestly can't remember the name, which saddens me, but that's all I can give you at the moment. And what it actually did is, after she physically ripped it off Matt Gargan, attached to her, and look at that nightmare on your screen real quickly. Yeah, definitely not a Venom I'd want to fight. Well, she turned out to be one of the smarter people, and actually got it to keep consuming energy, which is, you know, what she does, if you know anything about Miss Marvel. And eventually the energy was too much, and it just completely blew the symbiote right off her. Then it went back to Matt Gargan. He lost it again to like I said, to the government, and it actually ended up in the hands of Flash Thompson, aka Agent Venom, in Secret Avengers 23, 2012. But he actually first appeared as Venom, not Agent Venom, in Amazing Spider-Man number 654, 2011. Anyways, moving on as Flash Thompson, who was a really good guy as Agent Venom. It led into a event called Spider Island, in which the lead, I believe the lead project director, whose name is General Brad Dodge, well, somehow the symbiote got detached from Flash during the event, and in order to get back to him, I believe, it attached to the General's German Shepherd Samson in Venom Volume 2, number 6, 2011. Yeah, like I said, this was his technically first appearance, and he actually didn't first appear as Agent Venom until Secret Avengers number 23. And I just now realized, yeah, my typo. Yeah, it's not 2012, it's 2011 for Secret Avengers. My apologies. Anyways, as time went on, he eventually ended up as Agent Venom, teaming up with X-23, Ghost Rider, which I believe her name was Al Dorado or something. It was the first female Ghost Rider. And he also teamed up with the Red Hawk in an event known as the Circle 4, which wasn't that good, but brought us one of the most badass looking things ever, which was the Red Hawk. Not only with the Spirit of Vengeance, but also the Venom symbiote, which was just completely badass looking. And then later on, in an event known as Carnage USA, where he took over some kind of town. I can't remember which town it was, but it's like, you know, they sent Angel Venom in to try to deal with him, and then several Avengers like Captain America. And at some point in Carnage USA number 5, 2012, it ended up attaching to a silverback gorilla. If you can believe that. Which it looks pretty cool, but it's like, just really? Now, if it used that like it did the dog, to where it tried to use it to get back to Flash, which it did. And, you know, over the next couple of years, Flash Thompson actually, you know, somehow kept a hold of it and didn't lose the symbiote. Like he had been. Until 2014. In which, this is a technicality, because while it is Otto Octavius, which is Dr. Octopus, it was during the period where he was Superior Spider-Man, aka he had his mind inside Peter Parker's body. So technically it's still Peter Parker, but it's also Otto Octavius, so I put it on the list. Well, anyways, it ended up bonding to him, and became Superior Venom for a second before he was able to overpower it. Which, don't get me wrong, he looked cool, and I kind of wish we could have got more of it, but at the same time, he was getting stale and people are wanting Peter Parker back. Like Peter, not him. Anyways, moving on. After a little bit of time, he actually ended up joining up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And just, yeah, he ended up losing this a few times and over the course of that time. You know, this one is just attached to a random scroll in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, number 16. I can't remember what the whole purpose was, but it looks actually pretty decently cool. But yeah, it was just something that kind of happened. I honestly can't remember why. And then later on, it actually took over Groot in Volume 3, number 21 of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Got any last words?
And it kept switching between different members. In the first it was on Groot, then it switched to Raccoon in Volume 3, number 22, and then switched to Drax in the same issue. Now, a little bit after that, Venom got his own solo series, and it was called Venom Space Knight. And anyways, he actually he let it bond to I believe it was like an alien mercenary boss or something, named Moive in Space Knight Volume 1, number 5 in 2016. And he let him. I guess it was poison to Moive or something, if I can remember correctly. Like I said, this is more of a list just kind of showing the bond that he did. And that was kind of it. I didn't really follow up on the whole whys. I knew most of them, but this one I can't remember, same as the scroll. And anyways, at some point it got once again separated from Flash Thompson, which I don't think, at this point, maybe he wasn't the best one to have a hold of it. And it ended up back on off. Oh yeah, it was, yeah, now I remember actually, and I'll go ahead and share it with you. I guess it went on some kind of massacre, and it was enjoying, the fight, the blood, and all of that, and it got ashamed of itself after all of it. After all of what it and Flash Thompson had been through, and forcibly removed itself from them. And he tried, the symbiote tried doing good by helping a homeless man, by slowly attaching to him and helping a homeless man, and then unattaching to it because it wanted to find another soldier like Flash, a good soldier. Well, it saw that in Lee Price in Venom Volume 3, number 1, 2016, and it was wrong and actually was used as a evil Venom again. Against its will this time, though. It actually did not want any part in it. But this was more so just all a whole thing just to get the symbiote eventually back to Eddie Brock, who is the current Venom. And yeah, like I said, I know that was a bit of a mess towards the end, just because I couldn't give a lot of facts like I had been with the other one, so I am sorry about that. But like I also said, this was more so just a list of the canon false bondings that it had with everyone, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoy the Venom movie. I would much rather be an MCU movie than a Sony movie, but I'll take what I can get as long as it's good. So hopefully it is. And if you guys actually did enjoy this video, go ahead and subscribe and like the video, and then check out my other videos if you want to. And if you stick around, I'll see you next time. Well, after all of this, take care.